Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me? Good. Excellent. So I wanted to welcome you to our Tisha B'Av service. I want to welcome Rabbi Benjamin and members of Congregation Beth Shalom of the Blue Hills who are joining us both here and online, and members of B'nai Tikva who are joining us from afar. We're really excited to do this together. A few words just about what we're going to be doing tonight. So we're going to do the Mariv service, or part of the Mariv service, and transition into the reading of Eicha. I will read the first chapter. Rabbi Benjamin will read the final chapter, the fifth chapter. And in the middle, whoever wants, we're going to be sitting both in chairs, and if people want, we can also sit on the steps of the bima here. And we'll pass around the microphone, and people can read a few sentences in English or Hebrew as they please. And we'll just keep passing the microphone around and go through the book that way. Rabbi Benjamin is going to lead us in Mariv in a moment. For those who need, we ask people to bring flashlights, but we also have some extras on this table over here. They are quite bright. The button is on the side, and you have to press it a few times for it to turn off. Please do not point it at people's eyes or you will blind them. So we're going to give people a few moments. We're going to do the Mariv service, and then we're going to choose where we're sitting for this evening and start the reading together. And just a word about Tisha B'Av in light of what's going on with current events in Israel. For a lot of us, this is a scary time, a dark time with the vote that the Knesset made this week. Tisha B'Av has always been a container for feelings of concern, worry, despair, anything that we're feeling about the future of the Jews. And we invite you to use this holiday and the reading of Eicha as a container for whatever you're feeling in the current moment. So I want to welcome Rabbi Benjamin to lead us in prayer.
Should I get the little stender from there?
If you like. Yeah. Actually, why don't you take this and I will get it for you.
So the tradition for Mariv is to daven in a subdued voice. So you'll hear that, and also none of the happy singings. So I'll just lay this here. You can hear me well enough if I leave that there.
People online can.
Okay.
Do you want to do from there?
Yeah, I think.
Those are on.
Yeah, I think I.
Okay.
Because I don't want.
That's totally fine.
Please rise. Page 1 of the booklets. Ve'hu rachum yechapar avon v'lo yashrit v'erba lahashiv apo v'lo ya'ir kol chamato. Adonai Hoshia hamelech yaneinu v'yom korenu. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai borach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Umavir yom umemi laila mavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzvot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai hamariv aravim avat olam beit Yisrael. Ki em chayeinu v'arech yomeinu v'em nege yomam v'laila v'avatecha atasir mimelo laim bruchat Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Page 5, silently through the bottom. Adonai Elohechem Emed. On page 8, let's read the English responsively till a little bit past halfway, and I'm going to get rid of God in the mail, and also if there's any Shakespearean these and thous, you're welcome to do the same. It is true and certain that there is one God, and no one can compare with Adonai. Great are the things that God has done. Adonai's wonders are without number.
God brought forth the children of Israel from Egypt. God delivered them from slavery unto freedom.
In all ages, the Lord has been our help. Adonai has rescued us from enemies who tried to destroy us.
May God continue to protect our people and all God's children.
When Bnei Israel beheld the might of the Lord as God redeemed them out of the land of Mitzrayim, they gave thanks unto Adonai and willingly accepted God as Melech. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים בני ישראל נשרה בשמחה רבה וכולם מי כמוך באים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נראתי לו אוסף אלה מלכותך ראובנך בקיים לפני משה זה אלי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב ולמי חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל השכיבנו אדוני Baruch atah Adonai shomer amo Yisrael la'ad. Baruch Adonai le'olam amen v'amen. Baruch Adonai mitzion shochen Yerushalayim. Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Eloi Yisrael osed le'odo v'rushim kuvodo le'olam v'mech fodo et klaretz. Amen v'amen. Continue through the middle of page 11. Baruch Adonai bayom, Baruch Adonai balayla, Baruch Adonai b'shocha beinu, Baruch Adonai b'kumenu ki v'yadcha b'yadcha v'ki Yiru einenu v'yismach libeinu Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai mloch le'olam va'ed כי המלכות שלך היא עומדת בכבוד, כי אין לנו מלך אלא אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך בכבודו תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ועל כל מעשיו. יתגדל ויקדש מרבה, ילמד יברך פרטי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון, ובימי כל מלכי דבול בית ישראל בגלל שרביו, אמן. ויהי שמי רבה ורח לעולם, עולמי יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר ורום ונשא, יתהדר ויתעלה על שמי קודשה Amen. The silent Amida begins on page 13 and it continues through 21. Oseh shalom b'ramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol b'nei adam v'imru. Amen. Please continue if you haven't yet finished the Amidah 23 as Reader's Kaddish. We do say another Kaddish after Echa, and that will leave out the Titkabel line. But for now, it's still included. Yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'ramen aseh v'yithadar v'yilavel shmei kucha v'yikolei lach min korvekata v'shirata v'shirata v'nachata damiran v'mavru amen titkabel zolot hodavoton v'chol yishol korom v'shrai v'imru amen heish shalom shemaya v'chaim alekvoy servru amen oseh shalom v'imromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol v'chol b'nei adam v'imru amen. So we're going to go straight to the first chapter of Echa. We'll do keynote, sad songs afterwards. But just to begin to set the mood, Rabbi Feld said, you may be seated, said it would be okay to share a few thoughts. So as some of you know, I made Aliyah with my family in 1995. And in the summer, the end of July, and Rabin was assassinated November 4th. That was my first few months in Israel. And I remember what it was like to be on a bus coming back from a Saturday night out and having a hush come over the bus, hearing this news, didn't know if he was alive or not, coming home to a hysterical babysitter, And, the big question was, who did this? Who did this? Was it someone from the Arab community? And it turned out that it was a Jew who killed another Jew. And so when I think about Tisha B'Av, it's not just the destruction and the ripple effects of what it meant and continues to mean for the temple in Jerusalem to have been destroyed, the center of our religious and our political center, destroyed. But it's also what led up to that destruction and what part we played as a people in that. And those of you who know the history and know the way the rabbis understood, certainly the destruction of the Second Temple, was this sinat chinam, this hatred of Jew against fellow Jew, which we see today. And what are we going to do about that? How are we going to respond when there's not just disagreement, but a real anger? And then also, if you saw a picture of that selfie after the vote, a gloating joy of, we got our way and to heck with you. And this is what we're dealing with. And my father used to say, Jews are just like everyone else, just more so. And so we're seeing them more so right now. And I just wanted to share a story about how this is not something that just happens out there, but can happen right in our own realm of experience and life. And what do we do about it? It's like what do you do when a person that you're with says something that's racist? Are you ready? How do you respond? How do you respond when a person speaks in a way that is antagonistic or aggressive or bigoted? Do you just keep quiet and go, I'm not going to get involved? Or are you ready? Can you see yourself ready to speak up for decency? And so when I was in Israel, one of the things I occasionally did was lead B'nai Mitzvah at the Western Wall. Sometimes it was really at the Kotel main section. Sometimes, it was on the southern steps. At the time, they didn't have the section that they have now. And this one particular bar mitzvah, American boy with family in, and we were there at the Kotel Plaza, and he did a beautiful job. And as the service was ending, an uncle of his who was from Brooklyn, I think, it was definitely New York, and he said right there, kind of as the service was running, he said, because he knew where we were, if you just go out the dung gate and you go down the hill, where are you? You're in Silwan, you're in an Arab neighborhood. He said, let's go and kick some, Arab, you could fill in the next word. Let's go, let's kick some butt. But he said it worse than that. And I looked at him. I said, what? He goes, they pushed us around for so long. Now we have the power. Now we have the strength. He said, let's do it to them. I said, whoa, come on. I said, you don't live here. I said, we have to live with these people. I said, that's not how it works. We have to try to work together and have a peaceful existence with these people. I didn't expect, I never anticipated what would I say if, but I was so shocked. You know, he's not from, doesn't live in Jerusalem, doesn't realize what it's like to rub shoulders with people, but it was this sense of Jews are like everybody else, but some, you know, more so. It was this sense of finally we have the power and we can do some hurt because we've been hurt so much. That's where he was coming from. And the second story and my last one was one of the things I did is I guided in Jerusalem and other parts. And sometimes, you know, as the tour is over, then I would walk through the Jewish quarter to catch the bus, you know, to get home. And as I was walking through a plaza in the Jewish quarter, I saw some black hat kids, right, Hasidic kids, throwing stones towards an alley. And in my very American Hebrew, I said, "What are you doing?" And the kid said, "Aravim. Yesh Aravim sham." There's Arabs there in the Jewish quarter. And I looked around the corner, and sure enough, there were 3 or 4 children. And I asked the children in Hebrew, I said, he said, "They're throwing stones at us. What's going on?" He said, "They're throwing stones at us." I said, "Why are you here?" They said, "We got lost." Did they get lost? Were they there? That wasn't the point. And I said to the Hasidic children, I said, "You hear? They say that they're lost." I said, "Let them go," because there was a little gate outside to leave the Jewish quarter, not 20 yards away. And they said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They're Arabs. We should hurt them." And I said, "Ken hem Aravim, aval hem gam bnei Adam." So I'll translate that. Yes, they're Arab, but they're also human beings. I said, "So stop. Stop throwing stones." And I stood there until the Arab children ran very quickly out through. So we have to be ready to stand up for what we hold to be true and right and just and human and Jewish. You never know when. You never know when. But I'll say this, now's one of those times. I have no idea nobody has any idea what's going to happen. But we might have to pick up a lot of pieces afterwards. We might have to rebuild a lot. So those are my Tisha B'Av thoughts. Thank you for permitting me this opportunity. Page 29.
We're going to take a moment to transition to our service. People who want to come sit on the bima can do so. People who need to grab flashlights over here can do so. And then when we're ready, we'll start. על נהרות בבל, שם ישבנו גם בכינו, בזכרנו את ציון. By the rivers of Babylon we sat down and wept when we remembered Zion. Eicha begins on page 29. Eicha yashva badad ha'ir rabat yam hayta kamana rabati vagoyim sarati bamdinod hayta lamas bachotiv kabalayla vidimata alecheya in lamanachem mikolo habeha koraeha vaktuva hayula leoivim galta yudameoni merov avoda hi yashva bagoyim lo matza manoach korod veha hisiguha ben hamsarim darchet zion avelot mibli bemoed kol shareha shomemim kohaneha nenachim v'tuloteha nugot vehimarlam ayu zareha l'rosh oy v'hashalom ki Adonai hoga al rov peshaeha olaleha al chushevi lifnei tzar vayitze mibat Zion kol hadara ayu sareha ke'ayalim lo matzu mareh vayelchu v'lo koach lifnei rotef zachra Yerushalayim yemei anya umrudaha kol machamudaha asher hayu mimei kedem b'nfolama b'yatzon ve'en ozer lahav rohu hatzarim zachaku hamishpateham chet chata Yerushalayim al ken lenidaita kol mechabdea hiziluha ki rohu ervata gam hinencha v'tashavachon tumata b'shuleha lo zachra acharita v'tereb pelayim emenachem lam re Adonai
asher tzivita lo yavo b'kahala kol anachim mivakshim lechem natnu mechamadehem ve'ochel ashiv nafesh Adonai v'avita ki hayiti zolela lo alechem kol uvrei derech habitu ureu im yesh machov kamachovi asher olali asher hokadonai beyom charona po mimarom shalach esh b'atzmotai vayirdenam paras reshet l'raglai eshivani achor nitanani shomema kol hayom davar niskad ol pashai beyado Yistarku alu al tzivari ikshil kochi nitanani Adonai bidelu chalkum sila chol avarai Adonai b'kirbi kara'alai moed lishmor bachurai Gatarach Adonai livtulat bat Yehuda Alele ani bochia Eini yordamayim kirachak mimeni menachem meshiv nafshi hayuvanai shomemim ki gavar oyev Persatzion biadeha Ein menachem la tziva Adonai leYaakov svivav tzarav Hayta Yerushalayim lenida beinehem Tzadik hu Adonai kifiu mariti Shimuna cholamim Urehu machovi V'tulotai u'bachurai halchu v'ashevli Karati lemavai emarimuni Koanai uzakenai vahir gavaum Kivikshu ochel lamum V'yashivu et nafsham Rei Adonai kol kitzar li me'ayel תושיק לך ערב בבית כמוות. שימו כי ננחה אני, אין מנחם לי, כל אויבי שמורתי ששו, כי אתה עשית, הבאת יום קראת וירחמוני. תבוא חורתם לפניך ועולל עמו, כאשר עוללת לי על כל פשעי. כי רבות הנחותיי וליבי דווי.
Alas, how in his anger the Lord has covered Zion with a cloud. He has hurled Israel's glory from heaven to the earth, remembering not the temple on his day of indignation. The Lord unsparingly has ruined all the villages of Jacob. In his wrath, he has leveled the fortresses of Judah. He has degraded her kingdom and her leaders. In fierce anger, he cut down the mighty ones of Israel. Before the enemy, he has withdrawn his own protection from his people. He has destroyed Jacob like a flaming fire which devours everything round about.
He has bent his bow like an enemy, standing with right hand uplifted. He has slain all her cherished ones. In the tent of Zion, he has poured out his fury like fire. The Lord has become like an enemy. He has brought ruin to Israel, destroying all her palaces and her fortresses, multiplying in Judah moaning and bemoaning.
He has uprooted his temple as if it were a garden and demolished his place of assembly. The Lord has abolished in Zion both festival and Shabbat. In indignation, he has rejected king and priests alike. The Lord has discarded his altar and has abhorred his temple to the enemy. He has handed over the walls to his palaces. In God's temple, the enemy hilariously shouts as if it were a day of festival. The Lord planned to destroy the walls of Zion. He stretched out the line and did not withdraw his hand from destruction. He has made the rampart and wall mourn. They languish together. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He has broken their bars. Her king and leaders are exiled among the nations. The Torah is no more. Her prophets are bereft with divine vision. The elders of Zion sit mournfully upon the ground and are silent. They are covered with their heads with the dust and girded themselves with sackcloth. The maidens of Jerusalem bow their heads to the ground.
My eyes grow weak from weeping. My heart is troubled. I am deeply pained for the destruction of my people because young children and infants faint in the city streets. They cry to their mothers, "Where is corn and wine?" And they faint like wounded men, gasping out their lives in their mother's bosom. To what can I compare you, and to whom can I liken you, O Jerusalem? Whose misfortune can equal yours, that I might comfort you, O Zion? For your destruction is as vast as the ocean. Who can heal you? Your prophets have deluded you with false and foolish visions. They did not reveal to you your iniquity, so that you might escape captivity. They devised for you oracles of falsehood and flattery. Passers-by gloat over you. They hiss and toss their heads at the city of Jerusalem. Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All your enemies open their mouths against you. They hiss and gnash their teeth and say, "We have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day for which we have longed. We have found it, at last we have seen it." God carried out what God intended. God has fulfilled the threat which Adonai made long ago. God has unsparingly destroyed and has caused the enemy to rejoice over you. Adonai has brought triumph to the foe.
Let your heart cry to the Lord, O wall of Zion, day and night. Let tears run down like a river. Give yourself no respite. Let not your eyes cease from weeping. Arise, cry out in the night. At the beginning of each night watch, pour out your heart like water before the Lord. Lift up your hands to Adonai for the sake of your infants who faint from hunger in the street. Behold, O Lord, and consider against whom thou hast done all these things. Are women to eat their children, the infants they have fondled? Are priests and prophets to be slain in Adonai's temple? Young and old lie homeless in the street. My maidens and my young men are fallen by the sword. Without pity thou hast slain them in the day of thy wrath. Thou hast called as in the day of assembly, my terror on every side. No one escaped or survived on the day of the Lord's anger. All whom I have nursed and nurtured, my enemy has destroyed.
I am the man who has seen affliction under the rod of God's anger. He has led me and caused me to walk in darkness and not in light. He turned his hand against me again and again all day long. He has made my skin and my flesh old. He has broken my bones. He has heaped upon me bitterness and misery. He has placed me in the netherworld as those who have long been dead. He has fenced me in so that I cannot go forth. He has made my chain heavy. Even when I cry and call for help, he shuts out my prayer. He has blocked my way with boulders and made my paths bewildering. He is to me like a bear lying in wait, as a lion in ambush.
He has turned me away to wait, from my paths and pulled me in pieces. He has made me desolate. He has bent his bow and made me a target for his arrow. He has shot his arrows into my body. I have become a derision to all of my people, the subject of their taunting all the day. He has filled me with bitterness and has sated me with wormwood. He has broken my teeth with graved stones and covered me with ashes. I have no more peace. I have forgotten prosperity. And I said, gone is my strength and my expectations from God. Remember my affliction and my anguish, which is like wormwood and gall. I still remember them, and am bowed down.
But this I recall, and therefore I have hope. The mercies of the Lord are not consumed. His loving compassions never fail. They are renewed every morning. Great is God's faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, I say, therefore I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who have faith in him. To them that seek him, it is good to wait patiently for God's deliverance. It is good for a man that he be disciplined in his youth. Let him sit alone in silence when the Lord punishes him. Let him submit to his punishment. Perchance there is still hope. Let him turn his cheek to his oppressor and be filled with remorse. For the Lord will not forsake us forever.
Though God cause grief, God will have compassion according to God's abounding mercies. For Adonai does not willingly afflict nor grieve the children of people, that prisoners be cruelly treated, that a person be deprived of justice before the Most High, that a person be defrauded of one's legal rights. All of this the Lord disapproves. Who can bring anything about unless the Lord commands it? Are not evil and good alike decreed by the Most High? Why should mortal humans complain when they are punished for their sins? Let us search and examine our ways and return to the Lord. Let us sincerely pray with our hearts unto God in heaven. We have sinned and we have rebelled, and therefore thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered thyself with anger and hast pursued us. Thou hast slain unsparingly. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud so that no prayer can pass through. Thou hast made us but off scouring and refuse among the nations. All our enemies have opened their mouth wide to denounce us. Terror and ensnarement have come upon us, desolation and destruction.
My eyes overflow with tears because of the destruction of my people. My eyes overflow unceasingly and continually until the Lord look down and behold from heaven. The sight of my people's misery in the city has caused me anguish. Without cause, my enemies have hunted me as if I were a bird. They have imprisoned me in a dungeon and have cast a stone to cover up the pit. Water flowed over my head. I said, I am cut off. Out of the lowest depths I called upon thy name, O Lord. Thou heardest my voice. Hide not thine ear when I cry unto thee. Thou didst draw near when I called upon thee. Thou saidst, fear not.
O Lord, thou hast pleaded my cause and saved my life. O Lord, thou hast seen the wrongs done unto me. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen their vengeance and their evil designs against me. Thou hast heard, O Lord, all their reproaches and plots against me, the words of my attackers and their utterances against me all the day long. Behold, how in their coming and going I am subject to their taunting songs. Punish them, O Lord, according to the evil they have done. Give them hardness of heart. May thy curse be upon them. Pursue them in anger and destroy them from under thy heavens.
How the gold has become tarnished, how the purest gold has changed. The sacred gems are scattered in every street. The beloved sons of Zion, comparable as they were to fine gold, alas, they are now considered as mere earthen vessels, the work of potters. Even jackals draw out the breast and feed their young, but my people are cruel like the ostrich in the wilderness. The tongue of the infant cleaves to his palate because of thirst. Young children ask for bread, and no one gives it to them. Those who are accustomed to feed on delicacies now languish in the streets. Those who rested on couches of scarlet now huddle on ash heaps. For the iniquity of my people is greater than the sin of Sodom, which was overthrown in a moment, too swiftly even for men to wring their hands. Her princes were poorer than snow, whiter than milk. Their bodies were more ruddy than rubies. Their figures were like polished sapphires. Now their faces are darker than blackness. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin is shriveled upon their bones, withered as a stick.
Yes, thank you. Those who were slain by the sword are better off than those who perished of hunger. For the latter pine away, stricken by pangs of hunger for the fruit of the field. Women, formerly compassionate, have sodden their own children, consuming them as food during the destruction of my people. The Lord has poured out his fury and given vent to his fierce anger. He has kindled a fire in Zion, which has burnt her to the very foundation. Neither kings nor inhabitants of the earth could believe that the adversary and the enemy should ever enter the gates of Jerusalem.
It is because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests who have shed there the blood of the righteous. These prophets and priests wander blindly in the streets, stained with blood, so that men cannot touch their garments. Men shout to them, "Begone, you are unclean. Begone, touch us not." When they fled away and wandered everywhere, men said, "You shall not live here." The Lord himself scattered them. He will no longer care for them, for they did not respect the faithful priests, nor were they gracious to the elders. Our eyes failed as we looked in vain for help. On our watchtower, we watched for a nation that could not save us. The besiegers watch our every move so that we cannot go out into the streets. Our end is near, our days are numbered, our time has come. Our pursuers were swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They chased us upon the mountains and ambushed us in the wilderness. Our king, anointed of God, he of whom we said, "Under his protection we shall live among the nations," was trapped in their pits. Rejoice and be glad with your short-lived triumph, O Edom, that dwells in the land of Uz. The cup of punishment will also be passed over to you, and you shall become debased and exposed to contempt. O Zion, you have paid for your sins. No longer will God cause you to be exiled. O Edom, God shall punish your iniquity and uncover your sins.
חרפתנו, נחלתנו, נהפכה לזרים, בתינו לנוכרים. יתומים היינו ואין אב, אמותינו כאלמנות. מימינו בכסף שתינו, עצנו במחיר יבוא. על צווארנו נרדפנו, יגענו ולא הונח לנו. מצרים נתנו יד, אשור לסבוע לכם. אבותינו חטאו ואינם, ואנחנו עוונותיהם סבלנו. עבדים משלו בנו, פורק אין מידם. בנפשנו נביא לחמנו, מפני חרב המדבר. אורנו כתנור נחמרו, מפני זלעפות רעב. נשים בציון עינו, בתולות בערי יהודה. שרים בידם נתלו, פני זקנים לא נהדרו. בחורים תיכון נשאו, ונערים בעץ כשלו. זקנים משער שבתו, בחורים מנגינתם. שבת משוש ליבנו, נהפך לאבל מחולנו. נפלה עטרת ראשנו, אוי נא לנו כי חטאנו. על זה היה דווה ליבנו, על אלה חשכו עינינו. על הר ציון ששמם שועלים הילכו בו. אתה אדוני לעולם תשב, כיסאך לדור ודור. למה לנצח תשכחנו, תעזבנו לאורך ימים. Together. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם. Now just me. כי עמאוס מאסתנו, קפצת עלינו עד מאוד. Your turn. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם. Page 48. We'll sing a few of these. אלי ציון ועריה, כמו אישה בציריה, וכיבתו לה חגורת שק. על בעל נעוריה, עלי ארמון אשר ניטש, באשמת צאן עדריה, ועל ביאת מחורפי אל, בתוך מקדש חדריה. אלי ציון ועריה, כמו אישה בציריה, וכיבתו לה חגורת שק. על בעל נעוריה, עלי גלות משרתי אל, מדהימי שיר זמריה, ועל דמם אשר שופך, כמו מימי יעוריה. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai dai.
What other possibilities we have for songs here? We don't really have a lot.
The beginning you gave us Allah Bavel.
Yeah.
That's on page 28.
Actually, let's do Avinu Malkeinu. Tisha B'Av is leading us into the season where we're praying for mercy for ourselves and for all of Israel. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu V'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu V'Aneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu V'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu V'Aneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu.
Al Naharot Bavel, Al Naharot Bavel, Sham Yashavnu Gam Bachinu, Bezochreinu et Zion. Bezochreinu et Zion. So we can go back to our seats to finish Ma'ariv now. Unless someone has another kinah, another one of these that they know that they would like to share. Is it in here? Oh, okay. So that's a great choice.
We'll do one more. A song which I think all of us know, because the tragedies of the Jewish people did not begin and end with the temple. They continued on through the centuries, through the Spanish Inquisition and into the Holocaust. So I want to include Eli, Eli, the song of a young paratrooper who perished trying to fight the Nazis and save the Jewish people. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, hachol v'hayam, rishru shel hamay, v'rak hashamay, tfilat adam, hachol v'hayam, rishru shel hamay.
Virak Hashamayim Tfilat Hadam. O Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of the heart.
Page page 49, the last paragraph. Baruch hu Eloheinu shebaranu lichvodo. Yehi ratzon milfanech Adonai Eloheinu v'levutenu. Adonai chafetz l'man tzidko yagdil Torah v'yadir. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah. Yalmad yivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayei chon v'yomei v'chayei dehol beit Yisrael b'agalah v'yizman kariv v'ramein. V'hei shmei Rabbah v'varach v'olam olmei olmei yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitruma v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yalal shmei dekucha v'yichud le'elah min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata damiran v'ma v'mramein v'hei shlam rav min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'mramein oseh shalom v'mromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'kol b'nei adam v'mru. Amen. We'll rise for Aleinu on page 53 and we'll say it. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shalo asano kigoye ha'aratzot v'lo samano kemishbehot ha'adama shalo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu koreim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Okay. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. Mourner's Kaddish 55. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayei chon u'v'yomei chon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekucha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush berchata v'nechmata damiran ba'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May be seated on page 58. Let's read line by line, starting a little bit past halfway of this reading. Begin with us. We refuse to believe that cruelty will prevail because we have felt the strength of kindness. We refuse to award the ultimate victory to evil because. So help us, O God, to live by our faith. Where there is pain, may we bring healing. Where there is despair, may we bring hope. Together, make this a better world and begin with us.
I want to thank everyone for coming. I'll actually get up here to finish up. I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to particularly thank Rabbi Benjamin for being my partner in this. And for those who are fasting today, tomorrow, I wish you a meaningful fast. I wish you a contemplative holiday. And may we uproot the sinat hinam that we know leads only to destruction. And may we meet each other in love and compassion always. Have a good night.